Hello and welcome back to Listen Up, presented by Dempsey's Grill and Sportsland. I know you guys are probably wondering where me and Phil have been, which is a fair question to ask. First of all, I want to apologize for not doing, of course, the last check-in or the game recap for the Georgetown game. No excuses, but UConn's schedule and my schedule just finally misaligned for the first time this season. So couldn't watch the game, wasn't able to do the last check-in. Of course, Phil is really busy too, so just not able to do it. We could have done it if we just squeezed it in, but we try to make the best content we can on this channel, of course, and trying to improve. So I think we just thought wouldn't have really been the best content to just squeeze it in, kind of rush it in before the game, and so just didn't really work out for that game, but I will talk about it some just so I don't completely skip over it. I did watch some of the highlights after the game, um, but of course Phil will also be back with me Wednesday morning for after the Seton Hall game. But I'm back Monday morning on this Monday evening. Of course, after this Georgetown game, 65-50 win over Georgetown yesterday. AZ re-injured her knee. I think that was the biggest storyline that I saw. Even got an ESPN notification, which is nice to see ESPN chiming in on some women's basketball. But injured her knee in the second quarter of that game. Didn't return to the court. Gino said he didn't think it was anything serious, but I don't think Gino is quite sure on a couple of people's status, a couple players' status rather. I'll get into that a little bit later on here. But it looked like to me UConn struggled a lot in the first half shooting the ball, 7 of 32 to be exact. So that's not too good, but 13 turnovers in the first half as well. Finished the game with 23 total turnovers after the previous game only having 10, I believe, which was a season low. Then they come back and have 23 total turnovers, which is not good. Keep on stressing limiting the turnovers, and they were finally starting to just kind of lower every single game, and then now we're back to where we started, it seems. But Leah led with 17 points, her and Dorka and Aaliyah Edwards each with a double-double yesterday. Looks like their offense started clicking in the second half, and thanks to their defense against Georgetown. Georgetown was just never able to get really a lead at all, but not jump out to a lead and put the pressure on UConn to really score any points. But they did get it rolling a little bit in that second half. They were only up by 1 in the first half, which I think is again due to the turnovers and obviously poor shooting. But obviously turnovers is going to affect the shooting as well and just give you less opportunities to score the ball. So but with the Georgetown game out of the way now, that was a good win still. They did manage to get the win. We've seen them fight all year long, so it is good to see that they got the win. More news today to go over about the AP poll. New AP poll came out this week. UConn moves down a spot to number 5 after 2 wins in the Big East, which I was kind of surprised. Of course, later Big East opponents, you might say, but especially South Carolina, Ohio State, LSU, Stanford, UConn are the top 5. But I'm surprised Stanford. I was going to say it's weird to see Stanford above UConn because Stanford, I noticed they lost to USC yesterday. But we'll see how Stanford does this week. Of course, that other loss coming to South Carolina, but losing to conference opponent unranked USC on the road, tough conference game, I'm sure. But UConn winning both of their games, Stanford losing again. But we'll see how Stanford does this week after they play number 8 Utah and 24th ranked Colorado. So guess we'll see what they're made of after this week. But now let's talk about the Seton Hall Pirates for a little bit. This upcoming game tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock. Seton Hall 13-5. This is the second meeting between UConn and Seton Hall this year. UConn won the first game 98-73. I believe this game was actually moved up due to the rescheduling of the DePaul game But UConn remains atop the Big East at 8-0. Villanova is 7-1, and actually ranked 22nd on this week's poll as well. Only Big East teams still remaining in the AP poll rankings. And then Seton Hall is 6-2 in conference play as well, rounding out the top three in the Big East. Of course, one of those losses coming to UConn earlier in the season. Now, if you guys remember, AZ Flood was actually not available for the first meeting either. And I bring that up because we're not really sure if she's going to be available for this meeting either, which is really unfortunate. I saw the play where she got injured. It looked like she collided with another Georgetown or a Georgetown player. And I guess the bump just caused her knee to maybe lock up or something. She had to wear an ice pack the whole second half and obviously didn't return to the game. So hopefully it's nothing serious, but it would definitely help UConn to have her out there, obviously for scoring purposes. But we'll just have to see tomorrow when we get closer to the game. And also as well, the other two injured players for UConn still remaining in concussion protocol. Caroline Ducharme and Ayanna Patterson. They weren't available for yesterday's game. And we're not sure if they're going to be able, as of the time now, a little after 5, I'm recording this, not sure if they're going to be available for that game tomorrow evening or not. So we'll just have to see. Caroline, I'm sure you guys probably remember this. Caroline actually had one of her best games off the bench of the season the last time these teams met. So it's going to be huge to have AZ and Caroline out there for scoring purposes on offense. And I would say Ayanna too. She can provide some points down low, but I think you'd rather have her out there for rebounds and of course her defense and coming off the bench to provide just some rest for the starters at least. But I think it might be a little tough game again if those three players, especially those three players, if they aren't able to go. But we'll see when we get closer to the game if they are able to play or not. I think some of the players to watch out for during this game, specifically on the Seton Hall Pirates side, Lauren Park Lane. She's an incredible guard, one of the smallest in the country, only standing at 5'3", I believe. But she's really still very, very good at what she does, scoring the ball. And the big down low as well as Sydney Cook's second year here at Seton Hall. But I think if UConn neutralizes Park Lane and Cook, Seton Hall seems like they have trouble finding scoring elsewhere on the roster for most of their games. So I think if they can kind of limit Park Lane and Cooks if all possible, I think Seton Hall is going to kind of struggle a little bit on the offensive side of things. And I think for UConn, again, it's a broken record at this point. I hate to keep saying the same thing every single last check-in video, but unfortunately, until they fix the turnovers, they were starting to do it. I was thinking, well, I'm not going to have to go on and just say the same thing every video, but here I am saying it again. Limit the turnovers. It's not easy to do. It's obviously not very easy to do, and we're not really used to having to talk about this kind of thing when it comes to UConn struggling really at anything, to be honest. But this past 2 years obviously have been unlike any other. But I think for UConn, it's going to be just honing in on turnovers. And you guys saw it yesterday in that first half when they had 13 turnovers, obviously along with the poor scoring. But the turnovers definitely don't help the offense at all. So limit the turnovers. I think the scoring as well. It's going to depend on whether AZ is able to go and whether Caroline can play or not. I mean, if AZ and Caroline and Ayanna can't go, we're back down to seven healthy players again. So I mean, this is the time of year you want to kind of have your roster healthy if all possible. You want to have everybody healthy, the whole team kind of set. Going into the heart of conference play, getting ready for your conference tournament, going into March Madness, obviously. But unfortunately, the story's kind of been for UConn is injuries, and we have yet to see a completely healthy roster besides obviously Paige and Ice Brady. But we've yet to see a fully healthy roster, it seems, it seems like it's been since the first week of the season. But So we'll see when the game gets closer if those three players are able to go tomorrow, and hopefully for their sake and for the team's sake and for our sake watching that they are able to play, because it's going to help them obviously tremendously on offense and I think on defense as well. But I think UConn still is going to persevere even if those players aren't able to go. Scoring prediction, I'll go 72-61 UConn. I think it's going to be a close game. Like I said, with those three players' status up in the air, I'm not really too sure what to expect. I don't think UConn's too happy with the way that they played yesterday. I know I know certainly Gino isn't happy with the way that they played yesterday, especially on the offensive side of things, seeing all those turnovers. I think the defense is fine. The defense has seemed fine all season, really. There's really nothing to complain about on the defensive side of things. I think also as well, I mean, Georgetown really isn't they're really not a good team offensively, but I mean, like I said, I think if they continue to make all these turnovers, they might be able to beat some of these weaker Big East opponents. But when we start to play better teams, especially in March Madness, it's going to eventually come back to bite them at some point. We have Tennessee coming up soon. Of course, obviously the big one in less than a month was South Carolina. So a lot of things to clean up before some more non-conference opponents come in. But of course, with these Big East teams, you want to clean up as many mistakes as you can and just really play your best ball at all possible. But I have 72-61 UConn in this game. I think UConn's going to persevere again. I know the effort is always going to be there with UConn. It always is, and that's really the one thing the one thing we've been able to count on so far these past 2 years is not the players being healthy, but we know UConn's going to show up every single game, and Gino's going to have them ready to play, and they're going to come with their best effort possible. So I think that's going to do it for me. Expect UConn to get the W yet again, continuing with the win streak in the Big East. Like I said, me and Phil will be back on Wednesday morning after the Seton Hall game. So we will see you guys then. This has been Rye signing off for now.